All right. How's it going, everybody? Okay. Just making sure everything looks good. We're going to start here in a couple minutes. All right. Okay, so for those of you here now, okay, obviously we have something that looks slightly tad bit different compared to what we have been doing in the more recent days and weeks. Um, there we go. I was wondering why that was so low. Than what we've been doing in the recent days and weeks, right? So essentially, the updated layout, this is it. This is already something that you can find on the Discord, both mine, which is the one that's the link in the description, and also the QuantView Discord, right? Um, obviously QuantView Discord, you have everything, and then my Discord, which is just something I've always had, is just like the specific stuff that I've helped either develop strategy wise or things that I use personally. But some people are in both, some people are in one. Um, but you can find this layout on both. Is the point that I'm trying to make. Okay, so obviously it's pretty self-explanatory, right? There are some changes that you can obviously see right off rip. The biggest thing is the addition of another panel, and then also using and implementing the SMC version 2.0 on both the Rencos and also the other two sections, as well as the Q Pro, which we already kind of have with the Q Cloud, right? So this is how the layout looked previously, right? And this is how it looks now. Okay, so a little bit of a difference, right? There are going to be some slight changes in filtered out entries with this layout. I am also, me personally, I'm also doing a bit of a different stop loss level, right? So, and I can go over that as well. We're going to go over everything, but I just want to kind of give like a brief explanation of everything right now, um, as it pertains to what it is we're looking for entry wise and things like that, right? So, similar idea when it comes to what it is that we're looking for overall, right? We're still looking for entries the same way that we're looking for entries, everything red, right? But now that we have the SMC, which also gives us the ribbon, SMC ribbon, that's kind of like an extra added confluence. As you can see throughout all of this, yes, we're all green, but the SMC has yet to flip bullish here. So this would be an example of, again, waiting for all of this noise here and some either small loss or break even trades, and just stay out of that. Go for everything that's green. And then similarly here, The ribbon, although we have mostly red, the ribbon turns red, everything turns red. So now this is where we're, looking for sells mostly. Okay. Another thing that we have again is the change of character and break of structure levels. Okay, these are just levels where we could see some rejection, as seen here, here. If we want to keep moving down, here, right here as well, where we may see price either stop or halt or kind of have like some sideways movement for a little bit. That's also again another level where you can aim for, right? Because if we know more or less, let's say we take this sell here, right? If we know more or less that we're going to have possible, pullback here, right? We're getting a full PT or a full take profit on this trade at that box close, which lines up with the break of structure level or the support level, rather than trailing normally and getting stopped one box less, right? And then similarly here, what we would be waiting for is an actual pull, an actual push to then retest and then a pullback, which never happened. Instead, it found support and then flipped, right? So something like this, another example where we have a change of character level, waiting for a push above that, retest. Again, this may not be something that we get in, or it isn't something we get in because now, even though everything is green, we still have red shading with the higher time frame Q cloud. So our first entry technically would be right here, right? And then from there on, I mean, we have a win, a break even, a win here. And some of these will essentially be wins when I explain the way that I am changing how I start the or how I place my stop loss now. So it is going to be slightly bigger. Okay. The way that I'm going to be moving it and changing it around is that we're just going to be adding one box. Okay. So for example, let's say we take this trade right here to the buy side, right? Or even let's say we take this trade because this is the two candles, right? My stop loss would start here. Wait, 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, my stop loss would start here, right? 3 box stop loss. The trailing would not change except for at the very beginning, right? So what this means is we're not moving our stop loss until we print a box. If we print a box, then we move our stop loss to where the original or OG stop loss level would have been, right? And then if we print a second box, then we go break even. Okay, so the only difference is just the starting point of the stop loss, which again would be the three box stop loss, right? Which again makes our stop loss bigger, but there will be times where, for example, here, right, because we gave it that extra space, we don't get stopped out and then have to get into a trade again. Instead, this is just one trade, right? And another thing that I'm going to start doing is just kind of limiting my trades to 5 boxes, because looking back, a majority when we're like not really making huge moves, but we're making okay moves, right? I would say the average box move is like 4 to 5 boxes. So a full PT for me would be around right there, right? So this trade would look something like this. At the start, we would have our entry here. Even though this box prints red, right, we're still in because our stop loss is down here. The moment we print that first box, now we move that up to the 2 box regular stop loss. If the second box prints, then now we're at break even. And after that second box, we trail normally. If we print a third box, then we move it up a box, fourth box, up a box, and then again, if you want to cut it off, that's up to you. If you want to let it run, you would trail the same exact way. So a trade like this would start off something like this, right? Because right, we have green, we're waiting 2 boxes for everything to flip red. Our stop loss is above this third box right here. First box prints, our stop loss moves up. Second box prints, we're break even. Now from here, from the second box all the way down, if we want to just trail normally, we can, and we would essentially be securing us similarly to what we were before, right? Like that won't change. So we'll still get about 120 points, so about 12 boxes, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Securing 12 boxes with a run up of 14. All right. So if you're not going to, limit it, again, either you want to limit it to 5 boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, either 5 boxes, 10 boxes, or let's say you just want to limit it to a break of structure level, where that's where you're going to take your TP. So this trade would look something like this. Full PT would be at that box, right? This is about 5 boxes, so either way, first one prints, we move it up. So now we have a 2-box stop loss. Second box prints. Rather than, again, moving it up 1 box, we're moving it straight from there to a break even. So 2 boxes with no partials is still going to be a break even. That is not changing, right? The only difference is that we're giving ourselves a slightly more space in case there's like a 1 box and then we get a pullback for a box and then we continue in the direction that we want to get, right? So like, I guess the best example I can think of is, I'm trying to find a good example here. I guess this could be a good example, right? So here, let's say we're in a buy right here, right? We have our 3-box stop loss. We're not moving this until we get a box. The moment that box prints, we've essentially kept ourselves out of 2 full losses or 2 full stops if we did take these, right? So instead, we're still in the same trade, okay? 1 box prints, now we're here, and now we're at a normal 2-box stop loss. The second box prints. Now from here, 2-box stop loss, we go to break even. And this ends up being a break even trade. Okay. Does that make sense? You guys have, and again, that's if everything's green, right? We want to make sure that the ribbon is green, both Q clouds are green, and that we have both Q cloud trend traders are green, and the Q cloud itself is green, right? And again, if we're looking to our right, we can also see where possible levels of rejection are going to be. There's very big and very strong rejection off of the ribbon itself on these time frames, right? So I have the 2-minute on the top right, I have the 15-minute on the bottom right. Okay, if we want to kind of look in a little bit, if we notice this first, let me go back a little bit towards 9:30. This first rejection area that we started to get, which again, we were staying out of this because we still had red ribbon, we had mostly red, right? So we're not really looking for buys anyways, but we see the rejection happening right at the middle of the Q wave, right? So the middle line, right? On top of that, we also had a break of structure to the downside as well. So we should only be looking for sells, right? Basically, the entire day has been sells or was sells, and we were only looking for sells. The only area maybe that we could have been looking for buys was this little box area right here, where we see the ribbon flip blue or green, I'm sorry, and we were above that center line of the Q wave, and we had a little bit of space to go up, right? So that could be an option, right? But another thing that I also want to point out is on the 15-minute, we were right at the Q line as well. So that's what we're rejecting off of. So that can keep us out of all of this. So aside from the left panel where we would be getting our entries, normally, we're looking for buys. If we're using the new stop loss parameters, there's no losses here, right? It's either a break even or a win or a small win, right? And I can go over it. Same thing how we did previously. So let's say, so we flipped green here. So this is the first trade, right? This is where the stop loss started at 3 boxes, right? The moment we print 2, we know we're at break even. The moment we print a third one, we have a small win here, right? This is the very next trade that we get right here. Let's say we get in here, right? 3-box stop loss. That keeps us out of these 2 losses. We print 1 box, we move up. We print a second box, now we're break even. So this ends up being break even here, right? The third trade was right here. This is either a break even or a small win if you got in a tad bit early. Stop loss starts in the same spot. 1 box prints, you move it up a box. The second box prints, you're still moving to break even. Okay, so the 2 box being break even is not changing. That's going to be the same thing throughout, right? But notice how now instead of having small win here, loss, loss, break even, small win, or break even, we're completely getting rid of these two losses. Now, will there be times that we do have that third box hit stop loss? Yes, of course, right? Like that's definitely going to happen, right? If you weren't paying attention to this level right here and you were taking this sell, right? I could kind of point out a couple different things that we had going on here, right? This was the same change of character level, so that same support level that we had. So at some point this was a swing low, right? We also have the bottom of the Q wave here as well, acting as support. So that could have kept us out of a trade, right? Waiting, waiting, waiting. Here, we take that second box because that's when everything flips red, right? Similarly, you have three boxes. One prints, you're moving up one. The second prints, you're at break even. And then this one went for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before it hit that level where you could take full, right? Or again, if you decide to trail, you just get one extra box. Okay. This would be an example of like a full loss. This was probably, I think, one of the first ones that I saw where it's like you take a bounce play, you have that third box there that gets stopped out. And again, that's just going to be part of it. But the very next one after that, you have a small win here, break even here, small win here, nothing here. This one saves us a little bit from a loss or a full loss, right? Because when we get in on the second entry here, and let me zoom in a little bit. If we did decide to get in on the second box, which would be an entry, right? Where everything flips green, we have that three box stop loss. One box prints, right? We're here. Okay. Normally, if one box prints, we would be here. That would have stopped us out for a small loss. But instead, with the new stop loss or the new stop loss I'm using, one box printed, we're here, right? So we still have space. We haven't been stopped out yet. Prints again, second box. Now we're break even, and we end up getting stopped out at break even here on a loss and a break even. Or actually, no, a loss and a small loss. So rather than two small losses, we get a break even because of that change in the stop loss, right? Here, nothing because we're not getting that second candle. This is a full loss, okay? This is a win. This is a really big win. This is another really big win. Huge win, loss, win. This one is a loss. And again, that's just not looking at any other confluences, right? Some of these areas where we're taking some of these sells at can be counted as areas where maybe we, looking at the right side, probably shouldn't have taken trades, although this does look pretty clean to the downside, so I probably would have taken all of these, right? But I mean, we're more than into PT throughout all of this, especially if we start at 9:30, right? We have a PT trade here, huge PT trade here, here. These are some examples here of everything's red except for our Q Cloud Step MA right here, right? Let's say we were trading this, right, for whatever reason. Okay, we're waiting for that. We're waiting for our pullback. This is a loss. This is a small win. This is a break even. This, instead of being a small loss, right? Because remember, we start with three boxes. This, instead of being a small loss, we print one. Now we moved up, right? Now we're just at one print the entire time, where we stay out of this loss here. We print the second box. Now we're at break even, right? And that's all on one trade rather than a small loss and a full loss. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where you could have aimed for if you wanted to, have your stop loss or your take profit at the most recent level of support, right? Either way, you would have secured the same no matter what. And then you have a retest, break and retest type trade. Similarly, you can either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 box, which that hits full PT, or you just trail and you get 6. Okay. And then again, that's also looking both here and here. Like I said, there are some trades that we could have stayed out of, right? that just looking at the left of the screen would have given us a little bit extra information, or on the right side of the screen, I'm sorry, would have given us a little bit extra information based off of where price was, right? For example, obviously there's no trades here. Here we're coming off of this Q cloud. So we want, or Q wave, I'm sorry. If we want to look to the right on the top right, on the 2-minute, we're rejecting off the bottom band of the Q wave right here, right? And then we see expansion. Come back, where do we find support? Right at this point, this was a swing low. So that's where we would essentially target. After that, we have a change of character here. We don't see anything on this side of the screen, but when we keep going and we keep looking right, where are we finding this rejection from? Where is this lining up with for the most part? The middle Q wave band and the SMC ribbon. Same thing here. What do we have here? We have a lot of rejection right here. In this area, we rejected our pivot point in this area, right? And just looking right, where are we finding some rejection, right? Where are we finding some rejection here? Same thing here. Same exact level, right? You have the Q line, you have the top of the Q wave band as well. Looking for what? A break and a retest. Where's that first one? Right here. Target can be here or just trail. We then get a break and retest of that level to trade lower, right? And then where do we find rejection? The bottom of the Q wave, right here. Notice how it lines up. Right here, right? Literally the same exact level. I know I'm rambling, but I just want to show as many examples live. So like for example, this here would be a buy, right? If I'm here, this is a swing high level. Let's say I'm in this trade, 2 boxes, right? At this point, we're already, 1 box into profit, 3, 4. So this lines up perfectly with me for 5 boxes. It's also right before the swing high, right? Obviously nothing here because we have green everything except for the Q cloud. You also have the green ribbon here, right? So now we're just essentially waiting, and this is, looking here. Where do we also have the swing high point? Very close to the 15-minute red ribbon, and on the 2-minute, we're above VWAP, and we also have the swing high point, that same swing high point level as well. So lining all 3 of these things up with also Confluence looking for entries here. I mean, I traded 5 MNQ today with the same stop loss parameters and all that. It worked out very, very well. Right. Sometimes, again, with the new, if you're going to do the 3-box stop loss, you will have some trades that you're going to probably lose a little bit more than if it was just one, but you're also going to have some trades that you stay in. Like for example, this is a perfect example right here. This is a bounce play entry, right? If we have two boxes, we're taking a loss before we get a win. But if we have our 3-box stop loss, right? Nothing's happening in these 3 boxes. We print one, now we're up. We print the second one, now we're at break even. And then third, fourth, if we want to take full targets at the 4th box, or if we just trail, we secure 8 with a run up of 10. So 10 would hit, again, 5-box target, 10-box target, or just regular trail. But obviously taking levels like this into account, right? So 2 boxes is still going to be a break even. But having that extra space, I think that 1 box of extra space, when it does stuff like this, will definitely keep us in the trade that ultimately ended up being a winner, or keep us out of a small loss or a full loss, right? But those are some good examples, right? Just adding Confluence here with this, right? Like I said, again, same thing. Break a structure, right? We're waiting for something to happen, right? So what are we looking for? Break and retest. We take this break and retest buy right here. If we have a 3-box stop loss, 1, 2, 3, this is our stop. We printed 2 boxes, so we're break even on this first trade. Boom. Next trade opportunity is the very next box, which also ends up being a break even. So break even there. Third trade. This is the third trade where it's like we're going break even, and rather than having a loss before then having a win, now instead we just have one win. Because this is our entry. We have our 3-box stop loss right here, right? 1 box prints, now our stop loss is moved up by 1. Second box prints, now we're at break even. Third box prints, we're up 1. Fourth box prints, we're up 2. So now instead of doing break even, loss, 2-box win, which ends up being a break even, now we're up 2 boxes, right, of profit. Just trying to look for another same thing happened here, right? Rather than taking a loss first and then a win, now we're taking this trade, we're in this trade, we have the 3-box stop, now we're going 1 box, now we're at 2-box stop loss, 2 boxes, now we're at break even, 3, 4, 5, and that's a 5-box if you're doing a PT, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a full PT. So you're securing 5 rather than 3, but you're also missing out on this loss here, right? Something like this would be an example of like a regular loss if you were just doing your regular TP, because you have to start with 3, you print 1, and then you're up to 2. So this is just a regular 2-box loss, right? Win here, break even, win here, break even, win, break even, nothing here, nothing here. Or even let's say, right, because obviously not every time is going to be perfect, right? Even here, let's say you were counting this as the first closure back below the Q cloud to then essentially have this be your entry, right? If you have a 2-box stop, we're getting stopped out here. But if we have the 3-box stop, right, that gives us a little bit of extra room. We then print another box. Now everything gets flipped. We're 1 box. Now we're here. Second box. Now we're at break even. Third, fourth box. So now we secure fully 4, right? Or if we're trailing, we secure 5 and get stopped out in profit, right? As opposed to having a loss and then a win. Now we just have a win. This would be an example of a small loss rather than a full loss, right? Second box, this is your entry. You have that third box there. Rather than getting stopped out here, right, and then entering again and getting stopped out for a small loss, now this is one trade. You're here, 1 box prints, now we're at 2 boxes. So we're still taking a loss, but we're minimizing a full loss and a half loss, right? This would be an example of a half loss. All these are wins. Wins here, nothing here. Huge win, win. All these are wins. Nothing here. An example of this would be a loss if you have the regular stop loss. This is your entry. But if you have the 3-box stop loss, you're still in here. We get that 1 box print. Now we're up. 2-box stop loss. We get that 2nd box print. Now we're break even. 3rd box prints. Now it's a small win instead of a loss and then a small win. So is the entry the flip of the clouds or the first Renko box that prints outside the cloud? So if we're coming from red to green like this, right, more often than not, the second box that prints. So like for example here, right? If we're going, notice how we still have some red Q cloud lines here. The second box that prints, 99% of the time is going to, once the Q clouds load, have everything flipped, right? So not just the one, but the second one. So if you're looking and you're back testing, like the day, right? If we're going from green to red, our entry isn't here because this could print a green box and then this always stayed green. But the moment this closed red, right? So this is the second box. The moment this closed red, notice how all the Q cloud lines also flip red. Same thing here. We have green Q cloud lines. This is the first spot close. This is the second box close. Everything's red from that box on. Even here, right? One like this is different, right? Because we have only one Q cloud line. We never close on the opposite side of it either. So in those instances, it'll be the one box, right? I'll take that first box. But if we're closing, if we're red, right, and we're looking for sells, and we're closing on the opposite end of all of the Q cloud lines, then the flip would be the second box close, right? Notice how we closed on the opposite end here, we closed on the opposite end here, right? But on this one, we didn't close on the opposite end. If not, we would have had some boxes close up here. And instead of having to wait for two boxes, now we're waiting for one, right? Same thing here, right? Everything closed on the opposite end, 1, 2. So this would be the entry, right? Again, with the old stop loss, this would be a loss and then a small loss. But with the new stop loss that I'm going to be implementing, this would be just a small loss. Like this would just be one trade. Okay. Even going the opposite direction, going from red to green, right? 1, 2. Everything's green on the close of this candle. Same thing here, 1, 2. This is just 1 because we're kind of, closed there. 1, 2, so this would be a break even. If it's like if they're all like super close like this, I would still do the second box, but you can try and go early and get on this closure here. Again, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But again, everything green. Q Cloud, Ribbon, both Q Cloud Trend Trader, Step MAs, green, right? Looking on the right side, you want to add some confluence, right? Here, if we want to reset this real quick, right? So this ended up being a small win, right? But now what are we looking at? Now we're in that, according to SMC, we're in a larger time frame order block. We're below our VWAP now. We're also right up against, and we keep rejecting our SMC ribbon here. Keep rejecting our SMC ribbon right here, right? So what can I expect? I can expect possible move to the downside for sells, right? Now, what am I waiting for? I'm waiting for what I'll possibly see is this ribbon to turn red. So see a bear sign like this, or a bull sign how it turns green. Look for a bear sign and turn red. Wait for both step MAs to be red. Wait for the Q cloud to be red, right? And then see confluence wise what we have going on here to where, okay, level wise, are we below now this Q wave line? Are we below this step MA? Are we below the 15-minute middle Q wave line, right? And then if those line up, then we can be like, okay, we may see a pretty strong move here, right? This can be something that we can trail, right? Or if, trail down to either a swing low, which is down here, right? Or if we create a new low internally and then we pull back and then we see a possible break of structure level, so something like this, right? Like these, those could be our targets as well. But this, coupled with the stop loss, that we're doing, I really think would make a huge difference, especially like when it goes like up box, down box, up one, like up and down one box, like that type of range. I think it's going to be really game changer. again, also, take into account everything else. Well, like trades like this rather than this being a loss first and then a win, this is just one win, right? And then the two box trades are still regular loss, regular normal losses. So I would definitely, I'm scaling down when I like doing this, right? So like normally if I'm on a 150K account, like if I had let's say a two box stop loss, I'd probably go one con, right? Like that's what I would do or what I'm doing, right? But with this, I can go 5 micros, go for 5 boxes, a 5 box winning trade full PT. I just need 2 of those in a day, and that's $1,000 on 5 micros, right? Obviously, lower micros, the lower accounts, risk wise. Like on my 50K accounts, I would be copying over maybe 3 micros, or sticking with 5 and just going for a 5 box PT for the day, right? But this level can definitely be, if this box wants to print, there we go. This level right here can definitely be an area of interest for sells, right? So if I'm looking for buys, I would prefer to see something trade up, come back, and then trade higher, because then I also have about 115 points to where this Q line is. And if you don't want to, I'll maximize this bottom right panel. This is the Q line, the blue line. That's the Q line. Notice historically how strong it is with rejection, especially when it's lined up with a pivot point. And then if we break above it, we come back, we retest it, right? Q line here, support, was support, broke through, act as resistance, right? And just adding that. Notice here, this day, you can also kind of tell like this day mostly was sells, this day was mostly buys, right? Added confluence is the Q wave. You have the upper band, the bottom band, and the middle band. Usually, if you start to trade outside of it or see a lot of boxes trade outside of it, that bottom band can also act as resistance as well, right? But this is the bottom right panel, and then the top right panel here. This is what this looks like on the 2 minute, right? Similarly, right? The entire day from until probably 1 o'clock, everything was red, right? You have support at the bottom Q wave levels. You have some consolidation or really not huge moves right at the Q wave before it's really deciding what it wants to do. And then you see that breakout, you see it retest, and then that's when we're having those expansion moves, right? Come back in, we're starting to see rejection and support at some of these levels, especially when they line up. If you have like multiple lining up, it works really good when it comes to like resistance and support. Makes sense? Yeah. Like I said, this shouldn't make it anything more difficult. If anything, it should just be like if you have something like if you're looking for buys, right? And you have multiple things on these right panels going against you, like if you're trading right into like a VWAP, right? Or right into like the ribbon on the higher time frame, like you may want to hold off a little bit, right? If you see then a move past it, and then you see it come back to retest, and then you see an entry, then boom, get in, right? But for the most part, like it keeps this alone will keep you out of a lot of trades. You can literally just do this realistically if you want to, right? I think adding these confluences would definitely more be made for someone that has a little bit more experience and knows price action, right? Because if you don't know price action, you can have some slight difficulty reading all of this, right? It could be confusing, but just only trading this, right, with the SMT, so these same levels, right, it can be more than enough, right? But I'm just, again, what I'm doing, just wanted to share some of the changes. Like, for example, if we did end up taking this buy here, this would be an entry, right? Our stop loss would not be the 2 boxes, it would be 3 boxes here, right? And then now we're just waiting for boxes to print. If we print one, then we move up to 2 box. So now we're at a 2 box. If the second one prints, now we're at break even. So that none of that changes, right? And we can still have our target at 4. Because on this one, we ended up getting a small win, right? And it didn't really hit that full target because it only went about 4, right? Wait, this was our entry. So yeah, 3, 4, 5. So now we're at break even here. So now this is just normal, right? If we print a third box, then we're here. Stop loss is 1 box in. If we print the 4th box, then realistically what I would do is just take full PT there. Like there's no real point in like trying to trail, because if you reject right off of this high, then you're losing out on 2 boxes. And rather than securing $400 for 5 micros, you're securing, depending on if this box even ends up printing up here before rejecting, like let's say it just rejects and we only print this box, you risk only securing 1 box or 2 rather than 4, which would be double, right? And that can always make a difference. But like the trailing doesn't change from then. If you have the room, right? If you let's say like a pullback entry like this one, right? And you're in a sell, right? If there's nothing really telling you like, oh, we have a lot of space, like you can trail it. Let it run. You get me? And right here, like I said, we're now above that VWAP. This is where our trade looks like. We're at break even. Still, we're at break even, right? So if that third box prints, then again, in profit, and so on. So really not huge, no like huge changes. It should just make it much more profitable and consistent. And this is going to be done on 5B, right? I like 10B now because the ranges of everything is just so large. Like, it's difficult to say where, how big we should be using if 5B is even possible because of how quickly some of these candles are moving in some of the ranges. I mean, just now, right? 2-minute candle, a 50-point 2-minute candle outside of session just randomly, right? Like that doesn't normally happen, or it wasn't happening a month ago. So, those are really the additions. Does anybody have any questions about anything? Maybe they want me to kind of go a little bit more in depth on anything specific, or ugh, gluten-free protein powder is not my favorite. Yeah. So like I said, like guys, questions, right? Because this is gonna be recorded. It'll be put on YouTube, or it's being recorded now. It will be posted on YouTube, or will be on YouTube once we end it. It'll be uploaded. Anything that you guys want to see specifically? I just want to make sure that there's enough information and questions. I know I went over everything, but I may not have explained it great. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. Well, like I said, either way, if you guys have any questions about it, obviously feel free to ask in the Discord. I mean, this is what we're going to be live trading now, so we have all of the extra confluence and things. Um, yeah, and for the Ninja Trader for the Auto Banksy too, I think it would be interesting to do 10B with obviously all of the crazy volume that's been going on. 5B at the moment just maybe too small. And if we want to go over, look at other ones like gold, right? Gold is very similar. The stop loss would be the same, right? So let's say in this scenario, rather than here, rather than this being a small loss, a full loss, and then a win, if we're taking an entry here with a buy and we have our 3-box stop loss, right? Once that first box prints, now our stop loss is at 2, right? And then now after that, the second box doesn't print until here. So we're at break even at this box. And then after that box, it runs 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boxes. So rather than, again, small loss, full loss, win, now it's just one trade. Oh, what did I do? Oh, there we go. Now it's just one trade. Like that's a really good example too. Like maybe we don't take trades here, because what do we have here? If we're looking on the right side, we have a 15-minute. We have our pivot point here. We also have a high as well where we previously rejected at. Jesus. I don't really need the money ball on any of these. There we go. That looks actually much cleaner. I'm going to take the money ball off of the right 2 panels because I don't really need it. I only care about it on the Renkos, and it gives us more space, like visually. But going back to gold, right? Maybe not take any of these. Wait for a clean push and then a pullback, which would have happened here. Because what do we have? We have, where are we? Right here. Because what do we have? We have a 15-minute pivot point. We have a previous high that got rejected as well, and also a pivot point here. So we're waiting for possibly, a push to the upside. So could possibly stay out of all of this realistically. Everything flips green here, so this is a winning trade. This is a loss, or a small loss, sorry. Everything flips red here, so this is a win. Nothing here. Break even, break even. This ends up being small losses. But let's see what we even have. If there's anything that could have kept us out of it. Oh yeah. I mean, we have the bottom of the Q wave there as well. And then this could have been a very easy target to go for because it was the Q line as well as a previous low also. So if we did take this, like this could have been an easy full take profit at that level. Looking to the left, I mean, this is just, all these are wins. Small loss here, big win, 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 break even, win, win. Mostly wins there. Nothing here. and then you have pre-market. So yeah, like your first trade of the day was most probably here, this trade right here, and that would have hit PT. Yeah. Like I said, it's being recorded, so you guys can watch and rewatch, and then obviously, there'll be me actually live trading it in the mornings and stuff like that for you guys. So you guys will have all that information and see. So now we have a full PT hit here, right? And then now, if it does end up trading higher, then we can possibly see if we want to get in for a retest. But if it rejects off of here, then we essentially recover or secured those levels, right? Or secured those boxes. Because now if it rejects, then rather than getting a full 4, we're only getting 3. But again, it can continue higher. But that would be, I mean, if you were trading Asia and you were going for 5 boxes and that was your PT, you get 1 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you get 4 there. So that's PT right there. But yeah. Yeah, I mean that's really all there is to it, guys. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and ask. Obviously, we have live trading tomorrow, and we're obviously this is going to be the layout that we're going to use from now on. I just feel much better about it, especially when it comes to like adding confluence and really filtering out levels where we may see rejection and keep us out of trades. Also, with the stop loss being a slightly one box bigger, and the way that we trail it now, it's going to make a big difference on keeping us in certain trades that possibly would have either been a quick loss, much longer, and giving us a chance to actually, come out with a winning trade rather than a loss and then a small loss or a loss and a break even, so on and so forth, right? But yeah, that's gonna be it. I appreciate you guys for joining. Thank you so much. If you guys have any questions, like I said, reach out to me in the Discords. All of my links are in the description. Like I said, we added TickTickTrader and Blue Sky as some of the affiliate prop firms that I work with. TickTickTrader currently has 45% off their instant funding challenges, and then Blue Sky is Blue Sky. They usually have some pretty good discounts on their things. But yeah, I will see you guys all tomorrow morning. All right. Hope everyone has a good night. Okay. Take care, everybody.